There are moments in a public downfall that feel almost too perfectly symbolic to be real. This is the story of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the humiliating battle for his 30-room royal mansion, a battle he has, for now, surprisingly won. But the victory is a hollow one, ringing within the gilded cage he refuses to leave. We'll take you inside the bitter standoff between two brothers, a king determined to evict his disgraced sibling, and a duke clinging to the last vestiges of a life he once took for granted. This isn't just about a change of address. It's about the symbolic worth of a single house and the crushing of a man who was once a celebrated war hero and the queen's son, but is now a royal outcast. The king may have retreated for now, but the war over Andrew's future is far from over. For 2 decades, Royal Lodge has been more than a home for Prince Andrew. It's been his fortress of status. It's a sprawling, 30-room mansion in Windsor Great Park, valued at around £30 million, and a potent symbol of his former position within the royal family. He secured a 75-year lease on the historic property back in 2003, agreeing to fund its extensive refurbishment. It was here, with his ex-wife Sarah Ferguson, that he lived a life of secluded luxury, a life many felt was far grander than his diminished public role deserved. But since he became king, his brother Charles has been losing patience. The monarch, keen on slimming down the monarchy and its costs, saw Andrew's life in the opulent Royal Lodge as an infuriating and untenable situation. The pressure was immense. The king reportedly cut off the generous allowance Andrew relied upon to maintain the costly property, a move designed to make staying there financially impossible. Despite the king's fury and the financial screws tightening, Andrew has dug his heels in. He is said to have presented his brother with documents proving he is legally entitled to stay in the property, forcing the king to back away from eviction threats and ending the immediate push to get him out. While removal vans are not yet at the door, the victory feels temporary. Andrew may have won the battle for the lodge, but he remains a prisoner within its walls, entirely dependent on a brother who has made his displeasure perfectly clear. How did it come to this? How does a man born into the heart of the British monarchy, a decorated Falklands War helicopter pilot, once known as the Queen's favorite son, find himself in a cold war with the king? The answer is a long, sordid timeline of scandal, arrogance, and catastrophic misjudgment. The beginning of the end can be traced to his toxic friendship with the convicted American sex offender, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, questions swirled about their relationship, but they exploded into a full-blown crisis in 2019. It was then that Virginia Giuffre alleged she had been sex-trafficked by Epstein and forced into encounters with the prince when she was just 17, an allegation Andrew has consistently and vehemently denied. In a disastrous attempt to clear his name, Prince Andrew sat down for an interview with BBC's Newsnight in November 2019. It was a public relations train wreck of historic proportions. His bizarre explanations, like his claim he was at a Pizza Express in Woking on the night of one alleged encounter, and his now infamous assertion that a medical condition meant he couldn't sweat, were met with widespread ridicule. The fallout was immediate and brutal. Within days, Andrew was forced to step back from all public duties. In January 2022, as he faced a civil lawsuit from Giuffre, his mother, Queen Elizabeth II, stripped him of his honorary military affiliations and royal patronages. He was also to stop using the style His Royal Highness in any official capacity. He eventually settled the lawsuit for an undisclosed sum, with no admission of liability. While he legally remains the Duke of York, the man who once proudly wore a naval uniform was effectively a civilian. With Andrew refusing to leave Royal Lodge, King Charles reportedly dangled the keys to a far more humble abode, Wood Farm. This 5-bedroom property sits on the edge of the remote, 20,000-acre Sandringham estate in Norfolk, about 100 miles from London. This wasn't the prestigious Windsor estate, but a discreet cottage where his father, Prince Philip, had spent much of his retirement. The message was clear: if you won't leave willingly, your next home will be a significant downgrade. The threat of a move to Norfolk painted a bleak picture of his potential future. One journalist visiting the area described the lane leading to the Sandringham estate as undoubtedly eerie and noted a powerful, overpowering smell of wet mud. This raw, earthy detail, a world away from the perfumed corridors of palace life, served as a potent symbol of his fall from grace. It was a deeply unflattering reality check, a taste of the retirement home that could await him. There was even talk of him being offered Frogmore Cottage, the former UK home of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, which he reportedly refused. According to some reports, the king's frustration grew so great that there were even veiled threats that Andrew might find himself housed in a caravan on the Sandringham estate if he didn't become more cooperative. Though he remains at Royal Lodge, these stories of a damp, isolated future underscore the reality of his position. He is an outcast, and his gilded cage is the only thing protecting him from a much grimmer exile. From the pomp of Buckingham Palace to a bitter standoff over a 30-room mansion, the downfall of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor has been swift, brutal, and public. For now, he has won his battle to stay in Royal Lodge, clinging to the last great symbol of his former life. But he is a man in exile within his own home, stripped of his duties, dependent on his brother's money, and haunted by scandal. The grand house has become his fortress and his prison. The deference he once commanded has been replaced by public ridicule and threats of a life in a remote farmhouse, with nothing but the smell of wet mud for company. The king may have lost this round, but the war for the monarchy's reputation is ongoing, and Andrew remains its most prominent casualty. But what do you think? Is it right for him to remain in such a grand home while being a non-working royal? Or has the public humiliation gone far enough? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into the stories shaking the House of Windsor, make sure to subscribe.